menopause. How does it impact you? How does it show up? And how does it impact your personal life, but also your professional life? I feel that menopause is still a taboo. It's only like step by step, little by little, that we understand how important it is to bring this as a subject to the table, also in professional life, in organizations, in HR. But it is very difficult. It's sometimes so difficult to understand what is going on. It's so difficult to understand how we can deal with it, how we can get rid of it. We can't. I have the experience, like so many of you, but experience alone is not enough. And so I am here today on the Power Talks for Remarkable Females with Dilyana Mileva. And Dilyana, let me tell you a little bit more about her. She's an internationally recognized speaker, an author, and pioneering sleep and menopause specialist. She's the founder and the CEO of the Menopause Support Academy and the host of the Menopause Made Easy podcast. What she does is empowering women to embrace their power through this transformation. And so together today, we will explore how to minimize the menopause impact on your body, your mind, and your spirit, and unlock your full potential. So join us today. If you are here live, welcome. That's just amazing. Let us know in the chat where you are from. If you have any questions, any feedback, just put it in the chat. If you are watching or listening to the replay on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, whatever that it is that you use, we will monitor the chat and the comments. So if you have a question, if you want to reach out, just put your information, your questions, your feedback in the comments, and we will get back to you. Dilyana, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor to have you here. Welcome. Where are you calling in from?
I'm based in Canada. I'm living in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Beautiful. So we cover, there's some space between us. I'm in the south of Spain. I'm in a Madrid hotel for the moment, but it's great how we can connect over continents, especially with all the technology that we have right now. And I wish it was so easy to deal with menopause as it was with connecting overseas. Why did you start this coaching practice and this servicing on menopause, Dilyana? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Because my heart is in pain when I saw so many women dismissed and so many women feel isolated and not acknowledged and suffer in silence, don't know where to go, don't know where to who to speak. And myself entering in my early 40s with my knowledge with wellness and health, I always have been in the yoga industry. I'm follow up plant-based diet, but I cannot recognize myself. I start to feel more tired. I wake up tired, and early afternoon I want to go back to bed. And after in the evening, 2 a.m. My eyes is wide open. I cannot sleep, and I wonder how it's possible when I went through the day with endless cup of coffee and I was so tired. Now I cannot sleep. And I pushing myself, didn't listen my body, what my body tell me. I went to see the doctor and the doctor wanted to prescribe me sleeping pill and antidepressant. Deep inside me, I knew that it's not the solution. So I started doing the research and I discovered that I'm in perimenopause and nobody told me and nobody prepared me for this chapter. As many women out there living the same challenge, they're not prepared. They don't know what to do. Then they lack of knowledge and nobody talk about so much. So I was drawn to share what I discovered and all this information that I gathered during the years, and turned that in. I create a menopause support academy to help women out there.
Wow, that's amazing. And to me, it feels like perimenopause is a concept that shows up only the last couple of years. To be very honest, I never heard of that when I was in that phase. I even didn't hear of that when I was like in the middle of menopause. It's like a new concept that luckily gets more and more attention, and people are more and more aware of that and the impact it has. So there's also something like, oh, okay, this is something that is normal. This is something that we can talk about. There's documentation about that. There's even coaches and there's the academy. It is something real. It's not me feeling weird and acting strange and or just have it in my head or heading for a depression or whatever other label that people could put on it. So why is it so important that we deal with this early enough?
Because it's a biological thing. It's a chapter of your life. It's a natural. All the women going through that. Sometimes some women go earlier, some women go a little bit late. But after 35, definitely the hormones start to decline, and estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and other hormones. And also the cortisol is very important going with all this package, all these hormones. And very often in midlife, woman is pressed by society and career and family lives. So let's say for most of the women, they have grow up teenager or the empty nest, and then they start to feel the empty nest. But to the other side, they have aging parents that they need to take care of. And the same time, the demanding career and pressure in and stress. What I want to say that stress is a major factor of how that's affect all the hormones. But the more you know what's going on and how you can prepare yourself, the more easy can go through this journey.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It's true what you say. It is an age where so many different things come like together. And we think if we feel tired, if we feel exhausted, it's just because of all these things. And it's not necessarily true. It's also because there's things going on in our body. And while we might not be able to manage some or a lot of the external factors, we are able to manage what is going on in our body, or at least look for support in order to do that. So, what is your advice? How do you go with this?
Different women experience is a very individual experience, so it's hard to say to generate the things. It's very from one case to another is different, but definitely if you start to have trouble to sleep, if you start to feel tired, if you have hair loss, skin dryness, you start to feel that you start to experience low libido, not very much interested about sex and or intimate relationship, it start to gain the weight, specifically in the midline. That's the symptoms that most of the symptoms it's hot flashes, night sweats, sleep disturbance, mood swings. If you really not recognize yourself, how you react, and in your loved ones or your family, or when you're in the workplace, you're suddenly burst in tears, then you're laughing, then you, let's say you're angry, you want to swap somebody or just want to scream. That's the also the sign that something going on with your hormones,
Yeah,
and you
the
need to
problems with
check. Yeah,
emotion regulation.
yeah, emotional
Mhm.
regulation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so then what? You have the
So
awareness.
yeah, you get this awareness, and then there's a natural things that you can do. Change a little bit in the lifestyle, change in the diet. You need to observe your sugar consumption. You need to eliminate some foods. Definitely, you need to emphasize more in the relaxation, more relaxing exercise, not so much cardio. Or if you are so keen to go with cardio, just reduce the hours or the time spent in the cardio, in combination with the stretching is the best. So again, depend. Now it's the time to ask yourself how you want to live your life in the rest of your life, when your body change, your emotion change, your everything change. So how you want, what is your, how you vision yourself to go through this journey, and start to take care a little bit more about yourself. So self-care and self-love is really important in this moment. Find the support, speak with the people around you, what's going on is very important. And yeah, it start with little bit change of the diet, start little bit to change of your exercise, and of course acceptance, and embrace the change, and you'll be more easily. Observation, journaling, go more in the nature and connect with your body in a better way. It's also the steps that I suggest.
Mm. So, Dilyana, you say actually, as of your 35, things begin to change in your body, and that's probably an age where most of us don't really feel anything reminding us of the perimenopause. But do you feel it is important to start earlier, even at 35, before you start feeling all these very bodily sensations and feelings and impact? Is it would you advise to start earlier with a different lifestyle, more self-care, different practices, even before you feel something? Just saying, okay, 35, this is the moment where I can
Yeah,
switch that. Yeah. What
yeah,
is the impact
definitely.
if you start earlier? How would that be
Uh,
better?
I think it's gonna be more easy going through all these years, because menopause is just when officially you don't have period 1 year, but its classical case is around 50, 52. But many often the premenopause start decade before that. Yeah, later 30s and early 40s, it's a good time to start to little bit more observe yourself, a little bit take care of yourself a little bit more and nurture yourself, find a relaxation activity. And like I suggest, breath work, gentle movement can help you with hormone balancing and balance the stress. And also, yeah, pay attention of your diet. Let's just reduce your sugar, pay attention of what you eat and how you eat. It's also important.
Yeah. Now, I guess there's a lot of information about that, what you can do available, like on your website or in the academy. But I can already hear a lot of us thinking, yeah, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for more self care. I don't have time for exercise. So, how do you work on like this mindset shift
If
to actively start doing that?
if you don't have time for yourself just for 5, 10, 15 minutes, you don't have life. So you need to prioritize and find this time for
Yeah.
your me time. Even if you're very busy, you always can, between the activity, when you go from supermarket to home, when you're driving, when you're waiting in the line for paying the cashier, you always can breathe. You always can just stop and breathe. Yeah, that's the easiest thing.
That's true. But so you say 15 minutes per day can make a huge difference already if you can carve
uh,
out 15 minutes for the self care.
I can say 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the middle of the day, 15 minutes in the evening is the best optimal way to take care of yourself. But if you really so much in to go and cannot find this time, so yeah, either in the morning, either in the evening, 15 minutes can make a difference.
Yeah. So what can we do? How can we use these 15 minutes? Can you make it more practical? We can just see it before us and feel a bit more motivated to start doing it.
So there's rituals in the morning and there is rituals in the evening, depend which time you prefer. So in the morning is you need to more energize and all this, but definitely more invigorate breathing, more stretch, a little bit stretching, and then start the day with, let's say, more whole foods, more seeds, more not so sugar in the morning, and more fruits, but I suggest more berries, not so much other fruits, more berries
Yeah.
is a good option. And
Yeah.
then yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah. And so your morning practice, what do you do for morning practice?
I meditate a little bit, I stretch and walk my dog and breathe
Yeah.
when I walking the dog. I do that my deep breathing there,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's good for
Okay.
me. Yeah.
So perimenopause, take a dog, get a dog. That's the best thing. I know I do my walks with my dog also every morning and every evening. And it's, you have no choice, right? Just do that because this is what your dog needs. And so you are in nature. And I completely follow you there, Dilyana. Breathing deep, enjoying nature, in activating all your senses, what you hear, what you feel, sometimes what you taste, because there's a lot of plants in nature that you can find that are edible and that you can try. So that's absolutely a very good one. Yeah. You also mentioned gratitude practice. I think that's also one that you can do either in the morning or in the evening, whatever works best for you. What I have been discovering lately, a while ago, and that I do every morning is miracle mornings, if you are familiar with Miracle Morning. So there's even an application, and depending on, like this morning, I had to leave for Madrid and I didn't have a lot of time. And so I took a 6 minute practice, which was very short. But normally you have a 15-minute practice with meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise to activate your cortisol, and some gratitude writing and some reading if you have the time. And so, what my advice is also to the clients that I work with is, if you have a problem installing new rituals or new habits or practices, find an app that works for you and that motivates you to do it every morning and that makes it extremely easy for you. It's like a no brainer. You get up, for me, it's opening the app and just do your 15 minutes. And that's it. So, because we don't have to make it hard on ourselves, we don't have to spend energy in thinking, what is it that I could do in terms of practice and vary those practices regularly. There's so many possibilities to make it really easy and have this activation practice in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, grounding practice in general, when you walk, if you walk on the grass with barefoot, is very good for
Yeah.
grounding.
Mhm.
And also walking meditation does work also, if you're familiar with that. It's something that's
Yes.
important.
Yeah. Mindful walking also. Yeah. Yeah.
Mindful.
So don't go on your phone doing your calls when you are walking with your dog or on your own. It is about really taking that time to do something for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, mindfulness in general, it can help. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like afternoon practices, what could that be?
I also suggest in afternoon to go outside a little bit. If you work in the office, you can take your lunch break outside if you can. And then again, walk, breathe, all this afternoon. Yeah, just you need to spend 50 minutes stretching or breathing. In the evening, also just relaxing, you prepare for sleep. So
Mhm.
whatever works best for you, reading, journaling, or just again reflecting for the day, or just again some relaxation, whatever you like guided meditation, some relaxing music. All this can help.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the practices. Now we were talking about food. You already mentioned some things like avoid sugar. What else? What are things that you can change in your diet that really support you dealing with perimenopause or menopause?
A lot of seeds and raw foods, also balance the diet, a lot of green leaves, and lifestyle diet also can help. But
Mhm.
definitely not so much spicy food. That can help that gonna trigger your hot flashes.
Yeah.
So reduce the spicy food specifically in the evening. If you can reduce the alcohol, that can help, and caffeine also that can help. Read a lot of liquid, but more water, and yeah, well, if you need healthy snacks, it's nuts. It's a very good option
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. I have to say, Dilyana, this is the normal healthy eating. It's not like it's so difficult or so special. It's something that we should do anyway. Actually, I don't like the shoulds in this sentence, but this is basically something that if you want to offer your children or your family also healthy food, this is what you do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we need a woman crave the sugar and the unhealthy stuff, specifically in this age. So
Yeah.
you need a little bit more to control themselves and then just replace it with something more healthy. Yeah, in general, it's plant-based and healthy food. It's helpful, but specifically for women going through menopause, the food, if you're low in the estrogen food that increase the estrogen, is the soya and fermented food like a miso, tempeh, or this kind of food.
That's the one that you should pick.
Yeah, you can pick to
Yeah.
add to your diet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you deal with these sugar cravings? I confess, I have to say, I have this problem. I have the problem, or I had the problem, I still have it, with chocolate. And especially another consequence of menopause and perimenopause is weight control. And not only weight control, your body also changes in shape and starts growing fat cells where you don't even know that they can grow in those areas. So how do you deal with that? How do you replace the how do you like diminish the sugar cravings or put something in place that
Natural fructose is better than processed or white
Mm.
sugar. So dates a very good replacement.
Oh,
All
really?
kind of
Okay.
dates, yes. They also very nurturing. You can eat sometimes one, two, three, not too much to feel
Exactly.
really satisfied. It's
Mm.
very good option. And also, yeah, natural fructose from fruits, and it's better than cake or muffin or
Oh,
all this.
yeah. Okay. And so in terms of this weight control, is there any advice that you have there?
I also find out that breathing also help with the weight loss, and also this midwife, and also specific exercise. For specific exercise for, because we need to increase little bit metabolism. Metabolism slow down anyway, so you need a specific exercise for this. To it's could be ideal. It's combination from strength to stretch. What I discover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And then any other things that, because sometimes I read about supplements that are specifically
Yeah.
very helpful for women in menopause or
Yes.
perimenopause. Is there something there that you have very good
Yeah.
experience with?
I recommend if you're dealing with stress and anxiety a lot, it's ashwagandha. It's herbal supplement. It's herbal adaptogen, I think. Also radiola for energy. And also all kind of mushrooms can help with energy. And also black cohosh for hot flashes.
What is it for hot washes?
Black, black cohosh.
I don't know that. Okay. Is that like a root or is it?
It's a herb supplement from from herbs. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So there's quite some things that we can do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we look at what is your experience, if we look at corporate life, where as a high achieving woman or as an entrepreneurial, there's a lot of plates that we keep in the air. How is your experience about making this a topic that we can be transparent on and that we can talk about with our stakeholders, with our clients, with our boss, with our colleagues? How do you feel this is possible?
I believe it's possible. My mission is to get this possible. I really want to bring more awareness in the workplace, and people start to talk and give a little bit more space for women going through this experience, specifically women in a leadership position. It's in directors and all this, and not only all working women within the corporate world, they need work-life balance a little bit more. So if they get understanding from male CEO or other their peers or a colleague, that they need a little bit more space, a little bit not so much. Find the best rhythm that work for women leaders in offices, in the workplace, so that they are more productive. Because in this period of time, it's really challenge sometimes to stay focused, to get productivity in the same way that you was younger. So you need to implement more wellness program, definitely, that
Mhm.
help women going through this period. More wellness, that is not just fitness package or maybe yoga some places, even not so much even, but it's not just to go to the practitioner like acupuncture, massage. Is that helpful? Yes, I agree with that, but it need little bit more wellness program specifically for women in menopause, which that
Mm.
can include some more relaxation, meditation, breathing, specific room for that, meditation room, or just to go to relax when they need to decompress.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. One of the first power talks that I ever had a couple of years ago was with Eva Matthewson from DHL, and they had a program in HR. It was called 3Ms, and it was menstruation, maternity, and menopause, because these are the three elements in a woman's life that are pretty standard for most of us, at least menstruation and menopause, and that have a huge impact on how we perform and how we sometimes also are perceived. And I remember that half of the people in the audience were men, were HR and talent directors, in order to understand, because as I said, it is so difficult to bring this subject to the table in corporate life while it is extremely impactful. And once again, I feel that we are a little bit at risk in terms of having another reason for, I would say, corporate system to think that women in higher roles might not be as performant as men because they have to deal with menopause and everything that is physically and emotionally and psychologically impacting them. So, do you have some experience with corporate programs? Do you know what is
Unfortunate,
existing? how you support
Unfortunately,
them?
no. I know that exists a wellness package, what they say. It's, as I already mentioned, for go to acupuncture, go to cancer work, speak with someone. But it's not enough, I think.
Hmm.
There's so many other things that need. The main thing is to deal with stress and find life-work balance. The main thing is to deal with the cortisol, and then other hormones, it's going to balance too. So the stress is a huge challenge, and most of the workplaces, they're extremely stressful. So how they deal with stress, and then the women deal with stress differently than the men. So
Mm.
the stress relief techniques, practices need to be implemented,
Yeah.
definitely.
So even if your organization is not really very progressive in terms of supporting these phenomenons, if I can call them like that, you as an individual, you can do a lot. You can do a lot. That's basically your message, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also it's a responsibility in terms of role models, because if we take that up, if we are transparent about that, if we create awareness about menopause and the impact and how we can deal with it, it's also very important for women in our teams. It's important for women in our community, or maybe for our daughters, to understand at a very early stage how we can prepare for it and how we can navigate it. If everything stays in the taboo sphere, it is about work it out for yourself, right? This is not something that we can talk about, or if we do, everybody feels uncomfortable, or we don't know how to behave, or we don't even have a language for it. So I think it's also very important for organizations, for HR, but also for women leaders and entrepreneurs to talk about this and to create
Yes.
a language around this. And this is also what you're doing, right?
Yes, what we're doing. Yes, what we're doing.
Yeah.
We bring awareness. Yeah.
So, how do you experience that in society in general? Because we have this conversation now. Do you have a lot of requests to talk about this? Is there a lot of opportunity? Is there a lot of demand to be active on this topic?
To be honest, I never met in association or big company interest to this topic for now. There's occasional private radio show, private podcast,
Mhm.
like interview like yours right now, private summit, health and wellness summit, or specifically I was in a one summit with doctors talking about the menopause and hormone balancing and all this. But it's specifically in specific field, like in the health field, in between the doctors. But what I notice is that more and more different practitioners and doctors want to bring this topic on the
Mhm.
public and to be discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that there's a lot of coaching possibilities, but then again, those are private initiatives, right? It's not
Yes.
like organizations are integrating that in their policies, which is interesting because more and more you have the organizations getting worried finally about the retention of women and about the leadership pipeline where it is so difficult to have women there. One of the reasons is mainly how they look at the different phases of women in life and how they try to align them in the corporate reality. And so you see a lot of organizations now implementing like maternity transition program, right? So for that, it's what I see. It's what I see in big law firms, in the financial institutions. There are programs, women that leave for a certain period of time, which is very different in the US and Canada than in Europe. In Europe, there are even countries where you can leave for 1 year. So I think in America, if they hear that, their ears start to, I don't know what to do, but you understand what I'm saying. But so there are organizations who are already integrating this parental leave in and work around that. So women do not feel like demotivated. They don't feel not seen in their combination and their attempt to harmonize their professional aspirations, which are still there, and their family commitments and dreams. So there could be similar initiatives, I think, for menopause, where organizations really state that they are aware of this and that they want fully support and sponsor this phase in a woman's life in order to, as you say, make it possible and make it comfortable to keep working in an environment that is fully supportive of what is going on. And I think we're a very long way from there. And so I would like to use this Power Talk also as an invitation or a rally for women that are active in organizations to put this on the agenda. to put this on
Uh,
the agenda and to invite women like Dilyana to create these information sessions and support sessions and coaching sessions in the organizations. I would say maybe starting with HR and then go deeper and wider, because a lot of, and especially men, are absolutely not aware of what it is and what the impact is on performance. And I believe that support and, as you say, stress reducing, creating stress reducing situations and working conditions can make a big difference.
I agree completely. It would be wonderful if they give more possibility, opportunity to speak on that in the workplace, like education, lunch and learn, and seminars, and to get a little bit more information about the topic, what's going on in a woman's life in this
Yeah,
period.
absolutely. What would be the best advice you would like to give to women in their perimenopause or menopause? Advice that you wish that you had received when you needed it the most?
That you're not the one, you're not crazy, it's just menopause. And you can find the support out there if you're looking for. There is support, there's resources, and the people like me and you can help them to go through this transition in a better way.
Mm. Where can people find information that you have available for them?
They can visit menopausesupportacademy.com. There is a quiz when they can take for a few minutes and they can discover where they are in their hormonal journey. And from there,
Oh,
they can book a call with me to help them understand the hormones, what's going on, and create a kind of a map for success, for a wellness plan for them to become a better version of themselves.
beautiful. Can you repeat the website? I will write it here in the comments so it is available for the
Menopause,
people that are here live.
it's
Yes.
a one word. Menopause support academy,
Hmm.
one word.com.
Okay, I put it in the chat so it would go in all the comment boxes of where we are live right now. Can you just have a look, Dilyana, if I spelled it correctly? I think it is.
Menopause support academy.com. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So everybody listening live or listening to the replay, just go to menopausesupportacademy.com, where you will find a lot of information that you need provided by Dilyana. And there's a quiz where you can understand where you are in this very interesting and unavoidable phase of your life and make it a little bit easier, I would say. We don't have to suffer. We don't have to suffer hard, and there's a lot of possibilities that we can control and that we can do in order to bring this to a level where we can navigate it easier and be aware that whether you are whether you want it or not, you're a role model. So the way that you will deal with it can also have a big impact on the people around you, on people in your team or colleagues. And if you are in HR or if you have a sounding voice in organizations, then once again we plea here to make this a topic that is dealt with, that you tackle, because it is extremely important in terms of your retention policy and in terms of sponsorship of your women in the leadership pipeline. Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else you would like to add, Dilyana? Things that we
Yeah.
haven't covered yet?
Yes. No, I think we pretty much the self-care is important, self-love is important, and find the support to go through this. It's also can help you. So there's so much resources if you want to find them. And in my Menopause Support Academy also they have a lot of resources. I have a podcast also that they can listen. Menopause Made Easy. They can listen in Spotify, Apple, and major audio platform, and Podbean also. Menopause Made Easy. There's a lot of expert talking about the topic. They can find a lot of information how they can help themselves.
Yeah, beautiful. We'll make sure that this information is also in the show notes. And so it's on you. Talk about this. Don't hide it. It is an essential part of your being. It is an essential phase in our lives. It is also, I would say, Dilyana, it is saying goodbye to fertility, to what has been possible until now. And so there might also be some grief involved, because it is a sign of what is no longer a possibility in terms of motherhood. And at the other hand, it can also be an opportunity for celebration. I think it's important to accept grief, or accept also these feelings of letting go of a certain period in our life that we sometimes also align with vitality. But I'm the first one to say, and I hope, Dilyana, that you can join me in that, you do not lose your vitality because of menopause. You do not lose your creativity. We can create as women because we create children. We have an extremely strong creative power. But your creativity doesn't end. Your vitality doesn't end. Your positive vibes don't end. Your life absolutely doesn't end. And I think that we are the living examples of that. It is all about energy and vibrations. And actually, everything that we have been talking about here, and everything that Dilyana has been mentioning in terms of habits, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of self-care and food, is about keeping your energy high, shifting your energy from something that is depleting you into something that where you keep contributing to your own life and to the lives of others. And that's the most beautiful thing you can do, as long as you wish, actually, if that makes sense. That's my vision on life, actually. And
Yeah,
I only want to share that because it's in the
exactly, exactly, absolutely. It's not the end, it's the actually beginning of the different chapter, and this is just a chapter. It's not the end of your life. It can be
yeah.
more transformative phase of your life.
Absolutely. So, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sticking with us. As we have Power Talks almost every week, if you want to see other episodes, we keep them on a special podcast channel on YouTube, and there are highly valued and viewed. The link for that has been going on here below us all the time. So, have a look at other Power Talks. But stick to this one. If women in their menopause or in perimenopause that might benefit from this information, just send them the link. It's just something that you can do for somebody else to help them, to support them. And if you have any questions, if you want to work with Dilyana, if you want to find out more, visit her website, do the quiz, connect with her on LinkedIn. We will make all that information available as well. And just work on this, navigate this. You can do this, and we have your back. Absolutely. Dilyana, thank you so much for being here. You're amazing, and looking forward to learning from you in the future, and looking forward to see you shine brightly in organizations that finally understand how they can sponsor menopause with their women leaders and everybody in their team. So thank you so much for being here. You rock.
Thank you, thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.